Hey, Space Sailors. Welcome to the crew. I'm Sealord Janda, and this is my Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. I think, at this point, more or less in the late game. We only have 5 objectives left, actually. We're still trying to help out with the refugee flotilla, though we now have a conundrum of whether we're going to send them through or not. We're about to see what happens when this seed grows. And we've got these two as well, but they've sort of taken a back seat. We have an upgrade point, but nothing to spend it on. I don't know if I had a particular purpose in mind for this last dice. I don't actually know why I apparently stopped with 1 dice left. Usually I try not to do that. But yeah, there's not a high enough chance of success at this to be worth it. I believe we have all the food we need. Let's see here. We have all the food we need. We don't have all the scrap we need, but we're close. I just need 1 more. Yeah, that's a... yeah. Okay. I think this dice is not good enough to be useful for any of the things over there, so... I'm just gonna use it for a hack or something. And then we're gonna rest for the day. Ooh. Should have injected stabilizer. Oh well. We'll do it at the end of this day. Meanwhile, let's feed the cat. Sleeper. Peak is waiting for you when you leave, but they look different. Pale, drawn out. You need to come up to the Briar, now. They don't meet your eye. What's happened? Not here, Peak hisses. Come to the ship. We'll be waiting. Peak walks away. Don't take long. And with that, they disappear around the corner, leaving you anxious and confused. Okay, well, I'm not going to do it on an empty stomach. Let's order some fungus. Okay, fungus, and now back to the Greenway. Oh, hey, Rico's thing's ready. I don't have any club head caps. Yeah, I could harvest enough, probably, but I'm gonna wait. Okay, so we have 2. Let's see what this is first. As you walk into the Climbing Briar's cavernous bay, now filled with crates and containers, Esh is waiting for you. In front of her, sliced open with its insides scattered across the top of a heavy-duty crate, is an object you recognize. Helene's drone. You freeze. Come in, quick. Peak nudges you into the bay, looking behind you before sealing the entryway. We have to start being careful. You move closer to the container, your eyes on the drone splayed out in pieces, some parts of it hooked up to a slate that Peak picks up and begins tapping away at. Ash looks up from the dissection. We caught it buzzing around nearby, heading for the ship. She leans over and taps the HA sigil on one of the removed pieces of plating. It's a Haven-Age spy. We think we got it before it sent data back, but we can't be sure. Peak looks at you nervously. Ash cuts in. Have you noticed anyone watching you? Any drones like this? Anyone following you up to the Briar? Yeah, I've seen this drone before. Ash frowns. Following you? I met its owner. Ash pauses for a while, Peak looking between the two of you. Explain, Sleeper, Ash says quietly. Yeah, I'll tell him. You explain you met with Helene at the cordon, and you tell Ash and Peak about what she told you. The Haven-Edge Council are debating lifting the quarantine, but they're blocked by the hardliners. You speak faster and faster, but before you can finish, Ash walks away in anger and then comes back again, her eyes burning. What is this, Sleeper? Have you understood nothing from what we've told you? She paces in front of you. Havenage are not your friends, they are administrators, which means they are interested only in their own power, their own survival, their own causes. They divide people as easily as sorting livestock. The greater good of their work demands it. The wider project of the station, the colony, the nation. Her eyes are wide as she speaks, her anger barely contained. Well, I didn't have a choice. Pete cuts in. Listen to them, please, Ash. They are with us. Pete glances between you two. What was the sleeper supposed to do? They were ambushed by the Celine. I only listened. Let me tell you something, Sleeper, Ash says, her rage hardening into pain. When people become administrators, they give up something. Some part of being human, being an equal among others, goes away. They start talking about the greater good, the systems, the ways in which their hands are tied or their process is compromised. My mother was the administrator of Hawthorne, and I have seen what it did to her. That noble higher calling, it is toxic. People should never have the chance to decide the fate of others, and those that do so at a cost to their humanity. Peek tries to cut in, but Ash holds up a hand. Don't start, Peek. Don't ask me to be reasonable or calm down. Thousands of people are desperate out there. Being reasonable will only prolong their suffering. I don't know. I think Helene can help. Ash turns away. I'm done with this. You are risking this entire supply run just by being here. She walks back into the bay and starts checking the straps in the crates. I go next cycle. We don't need you anymore. Get out. Sleeper. Pig looks torn. You have to understand, this is personal for Ash. Helene warned me. Pig tenses. Warned you what, Sleeper? Getting caught will be real bad. You don't think we know that? Pig looks tired. You glance around the Bay of Briar, the walls seeming closer every second. This whole thing is closing in on you, and the question is, where do you want it to be when it all collapses? You look at Peek. And what do you think, Sleeper? Peek rubs their forehead. Should we do this thing, or not? Fuck. Here's the thing. Let's lay it out. If we do it, we're saving lives right now, probably. People are allegedly going to start starving very soon. But it probably does sink any chance for them having a permanent home here. So it's basically a judgment call on whether we think Havenage will actually come to a reasonable conclusion to let them in or not. I'm not going to give the cop-out answer, although I'm tempted to because I don't know. I tend to believe that one administrator, but I don't fully trust Helene, but it's also pretty... These two probably have a pretty shady backstory, despite them being, I think, on the side of good right now. If we possibly can, I would hold off a few more days. Peaky grimaces. I was worried you would say that. To be honest with you, Sleeper, I'm not sure how we got here. I mean, I know what we did, but it's like the universe shifted under us. One moment we were escaping Hawthorne, and now we're here, and I have no idea what's coming. They look at Ash. But do you see her? They look back at you. She knows how we got here. She's driving this whole thing forward, and she... They pause. She saved my life. So if your answer is no, I'm gonna need you to stand back and get out of our way, because wherever she goes, that's where I'll follow. I understand, Peek. Then help us, Sleeper. Finish this. We're so close. They look at you expectantly. Okay, no, look. If we're gonna do it, if they're gonna do it regardless of my advice, then it's better if I'm in, so that we can minimize the potential damages and casualties. Them getting caught will be the worst case outcome. Them succeeding at least keeps the refugees alive. Pig nods. Okay then. They squeeze your shoulder. Onward. They slip away to help Ash, leaving you alone to replay the conversation in your head. A certain kind of grim determination settling in the room. Last chance to prepare. I have to say, we're not in that great of shape. What are we short on? Scrap. Unfortunately, I can't, man, I should have done that. I can't get this done either, is the thing. In fact, I'm one scrap short. Okay, we should make sure that's done, I think. Let me see if there's any I can buy down here. I don't think there is. No, they're gone. Right now. These guys don't sell scrap, they only buy it. So I can only possibly get scrap by engineering actions, essentially. Or by searching this. Well, we have one chance to randomly roll scrap from this. No. In that case, I'm gonna get the last of what we need. It's a nice die. But Briar, there's all the scrap you need for repairs. You look over the pile of scrap components lying in the Briar. You look around, the bay is empty. Ash and Peak either elsewhere on the station or on the bridge a couple of levels up. You begin sorting through the pile, separating out useful components and boxing them by use. You don't recognize everything you find, but before long you get into the rhythm of sorting. As you do, your mind starts to drift, your attention being drawn into the dark corners of the bay. The Briar is in surprisingly good condition, considering that Hawthorne and XPR must have been operating it for decades by now. The marks of care are everywhere, from the delicate patch jobs polished to meld into the original finish, or the carefully bound wiring running through custom trunking. Ash loves this ship, that much is clear. Something catches your eye in one of the dark corners, a matte black stack of crates you hadn't spotted before. They're sleek and compact, tucked away behind some of the bigger, more worn containers. Now, this could be worth our life, but I'm going to investigate. You put the components away and go over to the sleek crates. You run your hands across their textured surface, but there's little hint of what lies inside in the opaque metallic casing. Then you see it, a yellow symbol embossed onto the far side of the crate, the universal sigil used by spacers, corporations, and manufacturers alike. It's one you've seen throughout your time as a sleeper, its meaning all too familiar. Explosive contents. You hear a hiss, and Ash comes up through the bay's lock. She barely registers your presence, nodding at you as she passes. Sleeper? She busies herself with some task at the back of the bay. Oh, what the hell, I don't think she'll shoot me. What's in the explosive crates, Ash? Ash doesn't turn around from whatever she's busy with. Just more supplies, Sleeper, like everything else here. You can't think of anything else to ask, but sense that the atmosphere is now somehow shifted. You quickly finish up the sorting and slip out, waving goodbye to her back as you do. They might be about to do something really stupid. Damn, all cryo actions discounted by 20% is pretty good. Maybe I'll grab that. Obsessive hag there. I didn't notice that before, but okay, well, there's really nothing I can do at this point. I don't have complete enough information to make a certain decision, so I've sort of made the best guesses I can. We're down to 64 is the cost of this now with all the perks and everything, which is pretty affordable. Cheaper than American healthcare, probably. It's even cheaper to buy cat food now. Okay. Well, stabilizer used, and... Oh, I didn't talk to the botanist. Rico? Yeah. Rico has something in her hands when you enter the lab. It looks like a knotted twist of woody stems, a ring about the circumference of a human head, consisting of a single stalk at one end and a branched woven network at the other. As you approach, she holds it up, and in the lights of the lab it looks like a crown. Rico finishes your thought. She smiles and shakes her head in disbelief. Is that what grew? It is. I came to the plant this morning, and this loop was all that was there. She points to a lump on the edge of the ring. The seed grew right back into itself, twisted up out of the soil. That being you encountered in the cloud, as you call it, was it wearing one of these? She eyes you suspiciously, still unsure if she is somehow embroiled in an overlong prank. No. She sighs. I suppose that would be too easy, she smiles to herself. A root crown. She places the object on the bench and shuffles to her analysis terminal, her face lit by its amber light in the dim corner of the lab. Well, it isn't exactly a plant anyway, not from what I can tell. She gives you a serious look. No leaves, no chloroplast, just a series of filaments encased in cellulose walls. How did it grow? It seems the seed contained everything it needed. A self-contained entity, nothing less. She beckons you over. But that isn't the good part. Look at this. You see a cross-section scan of the crown, its layers of plant-like structure on full view until you reach the center. There, instead of xylem and phloem for transporting nutrients, something branched and woven glints. Those wires? She laughs. I'm not sure whether to say yes or no here. These are not wires like those in an electrical system, no, but they are filaments of a conductive material, so... Yes? She leans closer to the screen. But you see those branches? They remind me of dendrites, of neurons. She rubs her eyes. Which is frankly ridiculous. You look back at the crown on the table as Rico fusses over the scans, and you suddenly realize what it reminds you of. You remember signing the forms, the walk to the sleeper tanks, the cold metal floor. Then you remember the crown they fitted you with, the branching structure of wires and pads. No, not a crown. They called it an interface. The tool of your emulation, your transference from neurons to electrons. An interface. That is your gift from Gardner. You turn back to Rico. It's an interface. Rico looks at you, puzzled. Something clicks in her mind. Perhaps something she heard from the sleeper she'd helped all those cycles ago. She starts talking, partly to you, partly to herself. If the club heads were made for you, then this too could be made for you, for your frame. She shuffles over quickly to the interface, a word that is stuck to this strange branched object quickly in your mind. You were right. That entity, it is the entity I have been looking for. She shuffles quickly to the crown. They are the entity which is controlling the Greenway, which has been maintaining it, supporting it, and has been guiding it for all these decades. She stops to catch her breath. They want to talk with you. Rico leads you to a seat. I will be here, sleeper. If something happens, if you wish me to remove the crown, the interface, just squeeze. She grips your hand tightly. You meet her eyes, clouded with age, but bright with the thrill of new discoveries. Then she places the interface on your head, and everything blinks out. Back into the river, back into the dark flow, but something is different now. You're no longer pushed, no longer blocked and buffeted by the storm. Instead, it flows around you. You move, and it parts, letting you pass. Something else resists, but it gives easily enough. You look back and see your body. You've left it behind. Somewhere, Rico's voice is talking to you, asking you questions. It's excited, eager, desperate to know what lies on the other side, what the entity has to say to you. You realize how long she's waited for this moment, for the moment of meeting between the inhabitants of the Greenway and its protector, and yet she is still on the outside. You shake off the sadness. You will be her eyes. Then you see the figure Gardner out in the storm, planting. It takes less than a moment to reach them. You've never felt so free. This is how Navigator must have felt, released from their prison. This, you think, is what it feels like to be in the place you were built to inhabit. Gardner does not turn at your approach. They go on planting, but their voice whispers. Their voice whispers in the waters like a sharply rising current. You grew the gift, their speech hisses around you. Good. I am glad. I wanted to meet you. Then we are the same. both eager shoots seeking one another. How does it feel to be free of your seed? They stoop to plant again. Good, actually. That is good. They press a seed into the loamy depths. There was some disagreement, continues Gardner, as if you were picking up on a long-held conversation, with the others. They felt you were a danger, but they are always cautious, especially the fungi. They're like old loam, known knowns, wide and stable networks. Fungi were cautious? Mostly yes, although there are many among their number who favor short growth cycles, thick nutrient veins, and sudden shifts. He gestures out into the storm, and though you cannot see them, you feel presences all around, sensing this audience with great interest. After all, they understood that it was I who made them their crowns, and without them they would not have joined the chorus. So you see that it is only they see that it is only fair that you get your chance to join too. My god, has he like connected all of the greenery into some kind of hive mind? You made more crowns? I made them all. Gardner moves away a little, looking for another planting spot. It was so lonely here, but before long I found them and began to let them in. Gardner stoops again. We are millions, and we grow. I hope you understand. I'm unused to speaking to your kind. It has been many cycles since my last conversation. I think it was with Chief Executive Trellick himself. You look around and you see it. Every growing thing, every non-human being in the Greenway is here. They are networked, connected, branched, and linked by this strange being, this artifact of the old station. The impossible dream of a senile farm administration AI. A living network. You would dissolve here, you realized, free of that decaying body. You wouldn't need to be a person. Why would you among all these other minds? You turn away from Gardner for a moment and look back at your body. A tiny hairline thread connects it to you. You hear Rico's voice again, still asking, still checking in. Are you okay, Sleeper? What are they saying, Sleeper? Are you still there, Sleeper? Something in you sighs a long sigh. A sigh that speaks of an exhaustion beyond tiredness. An exhaustion rooted deep inside you. It stems from the effort of answering questions, of answering problems, of getting up and breathing each cycle. But something else resists the sigh. A yearning. A sense of distance, a desire to squeeze that hand that holds you for its warmth, its blood, its complexity. To make a gesture that says, I'm still here, I'm still alive, I'm with you. The two ideas spin within you, making you nauseous. If you break that thread, you will be free. Free to dissolve here, to grow strange and beautiful among a million others. If you follow it, if you squeeze Rico's hand, you will wake up back in that dying body with all the pain and warmth that entails. Now is the moment to choose. We're not done yet. We're going to keep on living. In the real world. Your eyes track the thread across the whirling dark, back to your body. This choice, you realize, will not be presented again. I will follow it. You don't look back at Gardner. You don't dare risk it. Instead, you follow the thread, delicately, carefully, like a diver following their lifeline back to the surface. The river whirls around you, but it doesn't pull. It isn't jealous. Neither does it understand. It is, after all, just a river. It isn't a person, a flesh-and-blood person, with wants, with desires, with the capacity for love and hate. It doesn't understand you, and you don't understand it. So you don't focus on it. You don't think about it, on what feels like such a long journey back through the dark. You set your mind on eyes instead, on hands, things you can focus on, hold on to. And then after an age of crossing, you are there, settling back into the chair, into a body in a chair, and the overwhelming sensations that come with being a living thing with a rich and detailed sensorium. For a moment you feel like you've made a terrible mistake. Who would choose this weight, this anxiety, this deep well at the center of existence? Then you feel it. Rico's hand gripped hard around yours, trembling a little, sweating a little. Rico's hand with its brittle bones and crumpled skin. Rico's hand. And in that moment you understand why you made this choice. And then you squeeze Rico's hand and you wake up. Warmth and light is the achievement I just got. Oh damn, that's the ending of the main game, huh? Hopefully it's possible to continue, but I guess that's that's actually the final choice of the main game. I don't think this is going to be a super long credits, although it's definitely longer than the shoot, what was their previous game called? In Other Waters. Definitely longer than the In Other Waters credits were, but not long. For Diana and Danae. That's it though, yeah. Not a big team. Half that was localization too. Gareth, Damien, Martin. Sleeper? Rico's voice comes wavering through the dark. Are you still with me? You sit up, the lab a bright green glare that fades as you gather yourself. I'm here. Rico smiles. Good. She squeezes your hand. I thought you'd left me for a moment. What, she pauses. Who? She smiles. Tell me about it. Tell me everything. I'll tell her. You tell Rico everything. You tell her about the gardener, that strange farm administrator AI that has grown to be so much more. About the chorus, that impossible configuration of networked plants, and finally about the choice the gardener offered you. She listens attentively, but her responses are hard to read, and you wonder if she might have made a different decision had she been in your place. Thank you, Sleeper, for telling me. I know it isn't easy to say such things. People so often do not wish to hear strange truths. She looks away. And thank you for returning to me, though I know you had your own reasons. She squeezes your hand reassuringly. Something passes between you then, a kind of shared sadness for the impossible choice. The choice to escape your body or to stay and suffer it. Her smile is warm and generous, and whatever the wisdom of your choice, you're glad to feel welcome in this moment, in this place. Then suddenly she stands and walks a little away, as if trying to escape an unpleasant thought. You worry that she knows all too well what it takes to make a choice like you did. Rico sighs. So, Sleeper, do you plan to stay in the commune with us? For a while, I think. I'm glad to hear it. Rico crosses back over to you and takes one of your hands in both of hers. Haifa needs new blood if it wants to survive, and she squeezes. You are a good friend. Well, the feeling's mutual, Rico. Well, don't let me keep you. Rico waves you away and limps back to her terminal. As she does, you notice the crown in her hand, and she places it on the bench with great care. You can't help but feel a little curious about what she intends to do with it. Then you're out, breathing the air of the greenway, fresh as a spring morning. The dappled light makes a patchwork of the greening landscape, and you walk into it, sensing the movements of the gardener's chorus all around. And you're glad to be here, in this strange and beautiful place, a little longer. Well, that's poetic as all hell. Okay. Now we sleep. And then it's not a DLC exactly, because, well, the update or expansion content is still ahead of us here. Plus, there's a couple of quest lines we didn't actually fully complete yet. Thanks for watching, Space Sailors. Hope you enjoyed. New episodes will be up every other day, or you can watch live on Twitch. If you did enjoy, consider leaving a like or subscribing, and have a nice day, Space Sailors. This is Sea Lord Janda, signing off.